Hi there, David here, and in this video what I'd like to do is walk you through a DDA curate, which is a set of Reaper scripts for curating your sound libraries, your recordings, or your project. So what I'd like to do in this video is just pull up our action list here, and if you search DDA, you should find all of the scripts that are included in this package. And what I'd like to do is just go one by one through each of these scripts and show you what they do, how they work, and how you could use them in your project. All right, so the first thing I'm going to run here is just DDA curate, and here you'll see it doesn't actually do much. It just tells you kind of what it is and what it does, and what's included. So you have your DDA items, rating, metadata, and categorization scripts, and you can see all of those here. So categorization, item, metadata, and rating here. So you have all those there. So why don't we start right at the top here? I'm going to start here with add text to selected item. Notes. So this is pretty simple. So if I grab some items here and I run this script here, it's going to ask you to add text. So let's say I want to, I don't know, let's say these sounds I want to discard. So you can see here it added notes to each of these texts that says discard. And if we open these here, you can see here it says discard, which is exactly what we typed in. So pretty simple. If you want to clear the notes, you can again select these. That's the next one here, and I can just run that, and it's going to just remove all those notes. The next one here is copy paste notes. So if I add, let's say I add a text here like let's do the same thing. Discard. Let's say I want to discard these. If I want to copy and paste, I can run this one here, and it's going to open this window here, which is going to stay open. So then what you can do is you need only one item selected, and then you can copy the notes from that one item. So you can see here it says discard, and then you can apply it to other items. So I can paste it here, and you can see here they're all been applied there, right? So that's a really simple way to do it. So if I want again, you can just clear all those. There you go. All right, the next set of 3 scripts here, they kind of all do the same thing, but with a bit of flexibility. So let's say I want to add, again, some notes here for my sound. Let's say I want to categorize out. Let's say I want, these are like, I don't know, cinematic whooshes. Okay, so these are cinematic whooshes here, and maybe I'll label these over here, and maybe I'll split them so we can just, so it's easier for us to see what's happening. And maybe these ones I'll be like, I don't know. All right, and these ones here will be like doll wishes. Okay, so now what I can do is I can find all the items on a selected or from an item selection. So based on the item note. So let's say I have a ton of sounds. You can maybe see how this could be useful here. But let's say I grab just these sounds here, okay? And then I can run this one here. Let's run it. And so it's going to say what do you want to find in the notes? And then it's going to select only the items with those notes. So let's say I want the ones that just say whoosh or whooshes. You can see it still selected all of them because all of them say whooshes. Now, let's say I want to do a different one. So let's say I only want my cinematic whooshes. So I'm going to grab all of these here, and I'm going to say, get me all the ones that say cinematic. And you can see here, it's deselected these ones here, and now only the cinematic ones are selected. So you can see how this is super useful, especially if you have a large number of sound. You know, let's say this is copied and pasted down here like this, and I just grab everything, all my sounds. I can run this script here, and I can say cinematic. And now only my cinematic sounds are selected here. All right, so it's just a quick way to find the sounds that you've kind of tagged or added notes to in a really quick and easy way. So these scripts here do the same thing. One is for the entire project, so you can just run this and it'll find again whatever's in the entire project. It'll find those, and this one is for selected tracks. So let's say I just want to find stuff that's on the second track specifically. I can run it on that specific track here, and let's say I want it again cinematic. It's only going to select those, right? And if I say, let's say I'm on this track here and I select whatever, all the cinematic ones. Okay, let's say I just want all the doll ones, all the ones that have doll in their notes. There you go. Now they're in here. And now these are selected, right? So that's what these set of scripts here do. All right, let's move down here to the next one here, which is item group tracks become child of parent track. So if you have some grouped items, so I'm just going to do that really quickly here. All right, so I've created some sounds here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab just this set here. And let's say I want to move, do this next script here, which is item group tracks become the child of the parent track. So what it'll do is it'll take all of your selected tracks here. So let's say all of these ones, and it'll basically put them in a parent track. So you can see here, it put it in a folder track. So if I undo it, and I grab these again, and I just hit same thing, item group tracks become child of a new parent track. So it's going to create a new parent track. So right now you can see it's under whoosh. And if I create it, boom, now you see it's under a new parent track here. So this is useful if you have, a bunch of sounds that you have grouped together. Let's say like this one here, and let's say they're not in any kind of group here. they're not in any group and you want to put them all into a parent folder really quickly, I can just hit that. Now they're all in the parent folder. I can just minimize that and go. So that's what that does right there. All right, let's go back to our sounds that we had at the beginning here. So next one here is move item to child track within the parent folder. So if you have something like this one here, so this folder has 2 child tracks. So there's 2 tracks within it. Now what I can do is I can grab any of the sounds within this folder, within this parent folder. So let's say I want to grab this set of sounds here, and I can run the script. So I'm just going to run it, and it's going to ask me like, where do you want to send it? So it's going to list all the child tracks within this folder. So here you can see number 1 is this first track up here. Number 2 doesn't have a name, but it's track number 3, as you can see here, right? So now I can just put which one do I want to go to? All you have to do for this script is 1 or 2. You basically put the number of the track you want it to go to. So if right now it's on number 1, so I don't want it to go there. So if you let's say you want it to go number 2, I can just do that. And now they're all going to move. They're going to keep their position and they're going to move down to that track. So you can see how this is super useful if you have something like a lot of tracks like this. Let's say I just delete this, right? If you're organizing your sounds into child tracks and you're organizing them based on sound characteristics, and they all like maybe these are like I don't know impacts, and these are like whooshes, right? These are maybe bass, foley, whatever it is, right? You can kind of get the idea here, but let's say all your sounds are separated like this, and you just bring in all your recordings from a session, and you're like, okay, I want to split them into different categories here. Well, now I can just grab these and just quickly and easily move them to a new child track. So I can just select this one here, move to item to child track within the parent track, run it. Here are the list of all the child tracks that I can move it to. Let's say I wanted to move it to foley. I just hit number 4, enter, and there it goes. Right, so they keep their position and they just go right to that track. So that's a really quick way to move tracks around and to organize your sounds into groups like that. All right, move items to a new child track of selected track. This one is something that you would probably want to use before moving items or sounds to the new child track, like I just showed you before. So this one, what it does is, let's say you have a bunch of sounds here that are on they're still in the parent track. So you can either just select the parent track and run this script here. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a new child track, and then you can name that track. So let's say again, maybe these are cinematics. Okay, so something like that. And it's going to create that. Now, what you can also do is if you want to grab, you're going to say like all these sounds are cinematic sounds. So I'm going to move that to a new child track. Again, it's the same script here. You're going to run it again. Make sure that you have the parent track selected up here and those select and the sounds that you want selected, and I can just run it. So it's going to move all the sounds to that new track, and now I can rename that track. So again, cinematic. There you go. So now they're all moved. They kept their position and they're all there. And again, if you want to say, oh, actually these ones are not, I want to move it to another track within this folder here. So again, here you can see it's found that new track that we just created, as well as all the other ones we have. Maybe I want to put it into bass. I type number 4, enter, and it's going to move them all into the bass here. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Reorder selected items on track based on item length. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It's going to reorder your sounds based on how long they are. So I'm going to grab this and let's go here. So this is going to do the longest ones first to the shortest, and with 1 second between each. So there you go. And this is the opposite here. It's going to go shortest to longest. So they're going to go backwards order here, just like that. Right. So if you want to order your sounds in length, maybe you have different lengths of sounds, this is a great way to just keep your session organized and see what you have going. Okay, the next one here. Repositioned items even across tracks. This is going to put them all to 1 second apart. So let's say I want to grab all of my sounds that I have here. Maybe I'll move these over like here, and maybe these ones over like this. Okay, now what I can do is I can grab all of my sounds here. I'm actually going to put these into a new child track. So I'm going to go here, move to child track within the parent folder, and let's say I wanted to put it to whooshes here. Okay, so now these are going to go down to whooshes. Here we go. Now I can grab all of these and I can reposition them all to 1 second apart. So if I run it, you can see they're all been repositioned to 1 second apart, even though they're across multiple tracks. So you can see here, they're all a second apart all the way down. So it's just a really nice way to keep your session really clean, organized, and visually appealing. And here, you can do the same thing with the next script that I have here, except this one is user defined. So if I press enter here, and let's say you don't want 1 second, so the default is 1 second. Let's say you want something different, you can do like, I don't know, 500 milliseconds, which is half a second, and there you go. So now they're all split between each other by half a second. All right, so these are your categorization scripts. We already went through DDA curate. Okay, next let's do the items ones. So these, this one, select next item, move cursor to item, and then preserve the play state. This one I kind of was inspired by a script in NVK workflow, and I kind of did my own version of it here. It's pretty much the same thing. But basically, what it does is if you run it, it'll move across and select the next item in your track. And this is super useful, and I use this all the time, especially when I have, let's say, a lot of recordings or a lot of sounds that I created that I want to start categorizing or organizing. Then I can just grab, let's say, all these sounds are on a single track like this. Okay, and let's say I'm going to start at the beginning here. Let's start at the very beginning, and then what I can do is, so I have this assigned to a hotkey here, so I can just hit that hotkey up here, and it's going to go to that sound. And if let's say I play it, I can then click the next one, and I can just really quickly listen through all my sounds this way. Right, so it's really great for that. And the next one is the same thing except for the previous item. So if I run this, it's just going to go to all the previous items till you get to the end, right? And that is per track, so it's only going to do it on the track. So when I get to the end here, let's say I run it to this one here, and I say the next one, and I run it, right? Even though you're running it, it's just going to stop there. Even though there's other items down here, it's only going to stop at this track here. All right, next is selected item information printout. And this one's pretty cool, especially if you create sound libraries or you're creating a sound pack or something like that. This is super useful because whenever you're uploading them to sites, you always need to know information about your pack. You have to say how long it is, how many sounds are included, how many files are included, effects, and all that. And this kind of gives you a brief overview of a lot of that information that you need. So if I select all of my sounds here that I have in my project, so I'm just going to control all. And then if I go here to information, selected information printout, and I run it, it's going to print out all this information here about what I have in my project. So I have 33 unmuted items that it counted, that I have selected. Altogether, they are 145 seconds in length, or 2.43 minutes in length. Or if you want it in minutes, hours, minutes, seconds, it's 2 minutes, 25 seconds in length. Right, so I have all this information here. I can see how many items are muted, how many items are mono, how many items are in stereo. And then take markers. This one's interesting. This one is for like sausage files that have multiple sound effects in them. So if I load in, let me do that right now. I'm just going to load a file so you can see what I mean. All right, so here you can see I have 3 files, and they're each, there you go, they're each these sausage files. And basically they have multiple variations of the same sound within the file. Now, unless you activate take markers on these, the printout script won't work, or actually won't count the individual files. But if you have something like, if you want to insert your own take markers on there, so you can search in your action list and insert take markers, or the ones that I use, and if you already have MBK workflow, I can do MBK take markers here. And here you can do add take markers to variations of the item. So if I can run this one here, now you can see I've added take markers to each of these sounds here. And let's say you will want to do this for all of the sounds. So actually, I need them for all of these sounds as well. I'm going to add take markers here. So this one right here. Okay, so now everything has take markers in them for each time there's a sound. So for each effect, each sound effect, each whoosh here has 1 take marker, right? So even though this is just one file, there's whatever 9 sound effects in there, right? So if I grab everything now, I go back to my DDA scripts here, and I say information printout, and I run it. Now I can see here there's 59 take markers, which means there's 59 whoosh sound effects. So even though there's only 35 files, I know there's actually 39 sound effects for those files, right? So, and if I want to go here and I just grab just these 3 here and I just run this again, the information printout again. So, right, I know there's 3 sausage files, but each of them altogether have a combined 27 effects. Right, so it's just a quick way to get all that information you need. You can just grab it quickly here, just copy paste it into a folder or another file if you want, and get that information really quickly. Let's move on to our metadata scripts. So for the metadata scripts, there's one thing that you're going to need. So when you get DDA Curate, I included a Reaper project so that you can have basically your metadata preset here. So inside of this page here, there's a few things that you'll need to have set up here. So you'll want to have this loaded here like this. So like I said, when you buy it, this already comes all set up in the project. So you can just load your preset here and it'll be ready to go, right? And you'll need that to export metadata onto your files. So I'm just going to delete these here, and let's back up our DDA scripts here. So let's start with this first one. So this one adds description metadata. So to whatever selected file I have. So what it actually does, here we go. So let's start at this first one here. So let's say I want to have a description for this sound file. So I can just click for this one here, add description metadata on selected notes. And then it's going to ask me for the description for that file. So I can say it is a cinematic whoosh with heavy impact. Okay, let's do this one as well. Maybe this one will be a bit different. I can add a description here. Maybe this is a uh, dull, whoosh, slow, no bass, something like that. Let's say, okay, so these are the descriptions for these files. And now if I look here, you'll see there's a tag here that says descriptions equals, and then it has the text that we added. So this is on purpose. This is very deliberate, the description equals. So you don't want to touch that. But you can see that that is there. Same thing with this one here, description equals cinematic whoosh with heavy impact, right? So you can do that with every single sound. You can have unique descriptions for each one. Now what we're going to do once we have that, so before I move on to these other scripts, there's another script that I have here, which is create individual regions from selected items. So if I run that for these two here, you'll see it'll create a unique region for each of these items with their description names on them, right? And we're going to need that as I'm going to show later for when we export our sounds. For now, let's keep going to our next set of scripts here. So for the rest of these the metadata scripts here, you'll want to select all your sounds in your projects that you want the metadata applied to. So for example, for the project artist metadata, if I run that, it's going to ask for the artist name. So I'm going to say David Dumais. Okay, and it's going to create a region with that artist name around. So just one region around all the items that you have. So same thing I'm going to do for the next one here. If I want to add any comments or notes, maybe no comments. Copyright, let's add a copyright here. So I have the year 2024, and this is David Dumais audio. So it's going to add the copyright up here. All right, next, I can also add the, so I'll skip this one for now, but let's go to this one, add the project name. So if I run this, so what's the project name? Maybe this is a cinematic whoosh library. There you go. Now I'm going to need to pull this down so I can see all my regions here, but you can see here all the regions are up here that I inserted with their tag at the beginning of them. And this is important, and you don't want to change these because they are going to be working in collaboration with our preset here that we have in our metadata here. Like I said before, in here they're going to work with these tags here, so you don't want to touch them or change them. So I'm just going to apply that here. Okay. So anyways, so for now, let's go back here, and finally, I'm just going to run here the publisher. Oh yeah, I have to make sure I have everything selected here. So who's the publisher? Okay, there you go. So that added all of these. So now what I could do, so that's great like that. Another way that you could do it here is I have my all-in-one script, which is an easier way of doing it. Basically, you can enter all the information just once. So again, here I can do my cinematic whoosh library. All right, so I have all of my information set up here. I can just press OK now, and you'll see it just created the exact same thing here, all of the regions there. So if you want to just do it really quickly, the all-in-one is the way to go. And like I said before, so this is for your project metadata, and now for your individual files metadata. So I only put the description on these two here, but you'll want to run this script here, where it's create individual regions from selected items and rename the region using the item notes. So because these are descriptions, you'll see here, each of these will be different because each of these have a different description, right? So this is just a really quick way to do it all inside of Reaper and to have all your metadata in there, right? So now once I have that, what I can do is I'm just going to export these two here that I have selected. Yeah, so why don't we just export these two so I can see exactly, so you can see exactly how it changed the metadata for these. So when you get DDA Curate, you'll have the Reaper project with the preset all set up, but let me show you what that looks like here. All right, so you'll want to have region render matrix, all project regions here selected, and you'll want to have add new metadata selected here, and you'll want to have your preset here that comes again with DDA Curate all set up in here. Once you have that, I'm just going to save our settings here, and you can see here I have two files ready to render, which are these two right here. Now I just need to give the files a name, so maybe these are either under my cinematics library, cinematics file here, so I can do a wildcard here. Maybe I want to do a track name here. Actually, I'm just going to name it. I'm just going to name it manually here. So cinematic whoosh. So here you can see it's going to be called cinematic whoosh 1, and then we'll also have cinematic whoosh 2. So I'm going to choose where we're going to export this, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I've just exported these two here. I'm just going to bring them back in so we can see their project metadata here. All right, so those are the two sounds here. And if I go here and I look at our information, so you can see here the information that was embedded into the file. So here you have your artist name, you have the date, the comments, the description, you have the artist, the publisher, again, comments, and you have all this information that's already all inside of the sound file here. right? So it's just a really nice way to have all your metadata just included in the file as you're exporting it, so that, yeah, if you want to bring it in further into another into something like SoundMiner, you can edit it further in there. But you can see here, this one has a different description here than this one, right? So they'll each have their own unique description, but they'll all have the same kind of project tags applied to them. All right, so those are all the metadata scripts right there. The next one is the rating scripts, and this is probably one of my favorite ones. So when you first get DDA Curate, the first thing you're going to want to run is going to be probably this one here at the very bottom, is the DDA rating show and change rating colors. So if I run that, it's going to say there's no custom colors found. Would you like to set custom colors now? So I'm going to say yes. And you're going to have to choose 5 custom colors. And I highly suggest to not use the same colors. You'll want 5 different colors. So I already have mine set up here like this. These are the ones that I like. So I just set them just like that. And here they are. So this is what I selected. I selected as my first one, the dark green, then the lighter green, and then the blue, orange, red, right? And if I want to change them, I can change them again, right? If I just go here, okay, here. So rating color set, okay. And then they're changed here. So you can choose whatever color you want. I'm just going to stick to the ones that I know and I like. So for me, this is the colors I like. So I'm just going to close that. And basically, this is gonna, when you run the script, it's gonna save those as a file on your computer. So it's gonna save those colors. And once you have those colors saved, then you can go back and start using these rating scripts. So here, the change rating colors is the exact same thing that you would do if you clicked change rating colors here. It does the exact same thing. So if I click on this right here, it's just going to prompt you to choose your colors, but it's not going to show you what you chose. So it's just a quick way to do it. If you ever want to change them, you can do that. All right, next here is to order selected group items by their rating. So actually, let's start at the very bottom because it won't make sense if I start from the top here. So set selected items to rating color. So I can set it to rating color 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So this is a pretty simple thing. So if I go into here and I set it to rating color number 1, you'll see it's going to be dark green, right? Number 2 is going to be light green. 3 is going to be my blue. 4 is going to be my orange, and 5 is going to be my red. And because these are my colors that I have associated with it here. Yeah, so that is just setting the items to their color. And then what you can do with that is then move on to the next set of scripts here, which is to start ordering items by their color, right? So right now they're ordered by their color from high to low. So if I run this, it won't do anything. But let's go from low to high. So it's going to flip them around so that I have my lowest colors at the front and then my highest ones at the back, right here. So it's this one, order selected items on track based on rating. So run it. There you go. And they're going to be 1 second apart. You have your red, orange, green. So sorry, red, orange, blue, green, green, right? So the opposite rating. And I can, of course, do it the other way around. There you go. For this one here, order selected grouped items by their rating. This is for items that are linked or grouped together. So let me show you what that might look like. All right, so I just layered some sounds here, some whooshes. And if I want to run that script that is going to order the items by their group color, so the first thing I have to do is I have to be able to have my items group. So if I run it right now, and if I click run on this, it's going to say, please group your items before running the script. And to do that, you just have to grab these and you can just go here, group. You can go here, group items. So I already have a preset for that. And then you're going to see here, you have your link associated with these. So these are now all linked together. So now if I grab this and I say order grouped items, high to low, and I run it, you have to make sure that all the items in the group are the same color, right? So right now they're all different colors. They're track colors. So I can grab all of these now and set them to the colors that I want. So these are my rating colors here. So I can choose whatever rating I want like that. And I can do the same thing with these here. Again, I have to make sure that they are grouped together though. And same thing with these ones. So I'm going to group them together and then assign them a rating. So if I am working with groups like this, right? So these 3 are grouped together. They have different ratings. Here we go. Let's try to run it now. So if I run it from high to low, and let's click run here. And you can see here, they moved, right? So they're going to retain all their position, their groupings together, but they are going to get ordered differently. So if I run it again, this is what it does, right? So you can have 1 second apart between each sound set, but they're going to stay grouped together. So this is another way, like if you're working with sets of groups like in groups like this, just make sure you link them together, you group them together, and that they all have after that they're a color. They're all the same color. And if you do that, you can just grab them, run the script here to rate them. Let's say low to high. They're all going to be rated and organized like that. Or you can do high to low, low to high, just like that. So that's what these 2 are here. All right, the next set of scripts are all pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just go through them really, really quickly here. But for all of these, it's just for quickly selecting items that are rated in your project. So here, if I run this one, it's going to select all the ones that are number 1 rated. So here you can see it selected all my dark green ones. It even selected my dark green ones down here from the groups. So if I run it here, right, it selected these ones here and these ones here. And so that's the same thing with all of these. So here it does the same thing, but only on the tracks that you have selected. So if I select just that first track and I run it, it's only going to select those ones, of course. Okay, and it's the same thing for all these. So this is going to grab number 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 in the project, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So they're all pretty self-explanatory. I just assign these to hotkeys so I can quickly grab and manipulate the ones that that are rated in a certain color. All right, and with that, those are all of the these are all the scripts that are included in DDA Curate for now as the time of the release. If you want to learn more about it or pick it up, check the link in the description. And thanks so much for watching.